ಲೈವ್ ಇದೆಯಾ? ಹಾಂ 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 ಎಕ್ಸ್ಕ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮೈ. ಮತ್ತಲ್ಲ Okay. So yesterday we stopped at this slide. So I was telling you, I was just giving you the brief idea about economics. How you should study the economics. I was telling you that economics of a country is interlinked with the global economics, right? So whatever happening inside your India, I mean inside the Indian economics would be linked with the events happening globally. I was just giving you some examples. I was just briefing up. About the concept of economics, and I gave an example about Mukesh Ambani and Anil Ambani. So since both of them were studied with the same set of resources, one of them succeeded to become the richest of the world, other one couldn't become too successful, and he had to be bankrupt, and he was to be bailed out from his own brother. Mukesh Ambani itself bailed out Anil Ambani from bankruptcy, actually. Okay, so I was about to give you one more example. So this is about the state country, Venezuela. You know Venezuela, where is it? Yeah, this is South American continent. In the northern part of South America, we have Venezuela. Venezuela is economically, if not economically, at least it is a resource-rich economy or resource-rich country. Resource means what? Natural gas and petroleum oil, right? As per the data, Venezuelan reserves share 2.7% of the global supply of oil. 2.7% of the global supply of oil, right? Resource-rich country it is, right? What happened? It's a brief history of Venezuela. What happened? If you see the graph, this is the graph of GDP, gross domestic product, right? The graph of GDP was rising exponentially. Can you see? From 2003 onwards, the graph rose exponentially, because at this point of time, the prices of oil and natural gas peaked, right? During the high price period of natural gas and oil, Venezuela started to export huge number of oil and natural gas to the world, right? That brought a lot of dollars into Venezuela. They were selling oil and natural gas to the world, and that earned a lot of money to Venezuelan economy. So Venezuelan economy was growing at exponential rate. At this point of time, what happened? They got a lot of money. During this time, there was a president called, you don't have to remember, but just for the information, Hugo Chavez. The name is Hugo Chavez. That was a guy, president of Venezuela. What he did, he got a lot of money, right? But where he is supposed to invest the money? He spent all the money for public expenditure. Just like our governments are promising, right? Every election will give you free bus, free transport, free money, free ration, everything for free, to just encash the emotions or support of the people, right? This guy Hugo Chavez, he took this growth for granted. He thought this money will be continuously coming. I can spend this money and get the popularity and remain as president forever. So he was spending a lot of money for social expenditure. And at some point of time, let's say in 2013, the prices of the oil and natural gas stabilized, and they started to come down. Prices won't go always upward trend, right? They may also come down, right? It all depends on the global demand. Once it started to come down, the entire economy of Venezuela was depending on this oil and natural gas. There was no other industries. Right? So because the government did not invest the money in developing other sectors of economy. If the government had utilized this money to develop other industries, then the country would have sustained even with the reducing price of oil and natural gas. But it did not happen. Hugo Chavez was spending all the money for social and public expenditure. Once the price reached peak and they started to come down, then the shocks, the country was not able to absorb the shock. Country was not able to absorb the shock of price collapse. And there were no other sectors developed by the government to absorb the shock. There were no other products. There was nothing to sell apart from oil and natural gas. So whole economy started to collapse. So it came down, the GDP came down to the levels which was there in 1980s. All this growth got collapsed. Right? Why I am giving you this example? Because even though you have resources, you have to invest those resources in the right areas to achieve sustainable growth. Do you remember the word sustainable growth? Yesterday, I was giving you introduced the word sustainability. Okay, for a brief amount of time, you saw a lot of growth. Is it sustainable? Did it sustain for longer time? No, right? It collapsed because whatever the money earned by the Venezuelan government, the government did not invest the money in the right areas. They should have developed some infrastructure. They should have developed some other industries so that even though the petroleum prices came down, they could have absorbed this shock by exporting other products manufactured. Right? But the government did not do that. So economic policies matter because to achieve sustainable growth, to utilize the resources to invest in the right areas, balanced growth. Every sector has to grow, right? Indian economy is largely depending on service sector. You know service sector? Have you heard about services, IT services? Right. Indian economy, if Indian economy is 100 rupees, 60 to 70 rupees is coming from service sector. IT services, banking services, financial services, transport services, etc. Right. So Indian economy is largely depending on service sector. If India takes it for granted, okay, let's develop only service sector, let's not focus on other sectors, let's say manufacturing sector, then what happens? Tomorrow, if service sector collapses, there is no other sector to absorb the shock, right? So it is the government's economic policies will decide where the money is going to be invested so that we can achieve a long-term growth or sustainable growth. So Venezuela failed in that way. Inflation of Venezuela was nearly 85,000%. In India, inflation is 3%, 4%. Inflation is nothing but rise of prices. Rise of prices, right? In Venezuela, inflation reached 85,000%. If something is costing 1 rupee today, after 3 years, it costed 85,000 rupees suddenly. Right? So, in that way, the value of currency of Venezuela collapsed. The economy collapsed. It resulted in poverty. Around 75% to 80% of the people became poor. This created violence in the country. Government killed those who spoke against them, spoke against the president, and this resulted in European economies imposed sanctions on Venezuela. Sanction means if the government did not address the issues, we will not take any products from Venezuela. So Venezuela was not able to export anything because the Venezuelan government was suppressing the voice of common people. It was killing the innocent people because they spoke against the government. So all these things happened in Venezuela. So economic policies will result in political situations. Right? That is why economic policies are very, very important. I just gave an example because economic policies are so important. So here it says by 2021, 94.5% of the population was in poverty. Right? Based on income, but out of which 76.6% lived under extreme poverty. Highest figure ever recorded in the country. So if the country cannot utilize the resources properly, then what happens? At some point of time, it will collapse. That is what happening in all the states in country. So all this government, what are they doing? They were giving free public transport, free money. All these free things, how can they sustain for longer time? Can they sustain for longer time? Governments have to invest in industries. They have to invest in infrastructure. They have to create employment. They have to provide good colleges, good hospitals, so that everybody can grow, everybody can contribute, and everybody can encourage their potential to work and to earn. If those avenues are not created by the government, what happens? All this richness will collapse one day. That is why economic policies are very, very important. So, by giving this brief introduction about economics, let us come to the definition of economics. Excuse me. Economics is the study of how people allocate scarce resources for production, distribution, and consumption, both individually and collectively. Economics can be applied individually also. For example, every month your parents will give you some money 5,000 rupees, 10,000 rupees, whatever. So you have to allocate the money properly for whole month. How much should I spend for PG, food, transport, etc. So individually also this definition holds good. Economics is study of how people allocate scarce resources. Scarce means not enough to fulfill my need. Or resources are scarce only, right? For example, if someone is living a happy life, let's say 1 lakh rupees salary is getting, he is having a car. So if you go and ask him, what man, you are having a good life, he will say, no, I have some problems. Everybody is having some problems. Resources are always scarce, remember. In economics, resources are always scarce. Even in USA, there are economic problems. Even in USA, there are health issues. There are employment issues. Right? If you say USA is developed economy, does it mean that everybody is happy? Everybody is living a well-balanced life, rich life? No. So, resources will always be scarce. In economic studies, we consider resources will always be scarce. How much ever you spend, you still need some more money. That is the tendency of human being. Right? So, it is how economics is a study of how people allocate scarce resources. For what? For production, for distribution, and for consumption. Okay, I have to produce something. It can be food grains, or it can be mining. It can be production of energy. Right? I produce it and I distribute. How should I distribute it? If you just produce something, if you stitch a cloth or something, it doesn't get you money, right? You have to distribute it. Whoever is in need, you have to go and distribute it. And consumption, what to consume, how much to consume, right? It is the study of how people allocate scarce resources for production, distribution, and consumption. Some of the things you have, you will consume, and some of it you will save for future time, right? So consumption also involves economics, right? Both individually and collectively. So economics, the definition of economics applies at individual level as well as collectively. Collectively means it can be a family, it can be a state, it can be a country, it can be whole world, right? That is how it. And the end goal of economics is what? I was telling you, end goal of economics was achieving or creating wealth, well-being, right? Remember these words. All these keywords are important even if you want to write a GS3 answer or if you want to write an essay. You will get essay about economic and social issues. Right? End goal of economics is what? Wealth, well-being, well-being in a inclusive and sustainable way. I have to create wealth and well-being in an inclusive and sustainable way. All these keywords are very important. Inclusivity, well-being, wealth. Okay. If you can note down these definitions, you can note down. Right? So you have to create wealth. Just not wealth, well-being also, right? Yesterday I gave an example. You have a lot of money, but there is no hospital. There is no good school. So you cannot live a happy life. So wealth, well-being in an inclusive way. Inclusive means, what is the meaning of inclusivity? Yesterday I was telling you. Including all the section of society or a country. Poor, illiterate, less skilled, physically challenged, old age people, women, children, minorities, everybody. All section of people should be included in the idea of growth or well-being, wealth and well-being, okay? And sustainable way. Sustainable means, what is sustainability? Yesterday I was telling you, long-term perspective, right? Fulfilling the need of present generation without compromising the need of future generation. Okay, that is called sustainability. Right? When you think of economic development, you should think in these lines. Utilizing the scarce resources and deciding about production, distribution and consumption so that the wealth is created and the well-being is achieved. In which way? In a inclusive and sustainable way. You are getting it? Right? So, fundamental economic problem, I told you. Fundamental economic problem is resources are scarce and wants are unlimited. If Siddaramaiah tomorrow brings a press conference and asks, okay, for Gurulakshmi Yojana is giving you 2,000 rupees per month, all the women of Karnataka, are you happy with 2,000 or shall I increase it? So what will people say? Increase it, make it 10,000, make it 1 lakh. So wants are unlimited. My wants are unlimited, but resources are scarce. So economic problem always involves utilizing the scarce resources to decide about production, distribution and consumption to achieve wealth and well-being in an inclusive and sustainable way. Understood? Got it? Yeah. So let's talk about some theory. Adam Smith. Adam Smith, Scottish philosopher. He is considered to be the father of modern economics. Father of modern economics. So in 1776, in the 18th century, he writes a book, right? An inquiry into the nature and causes of wealth of nations. An inquiry into the nature and cause of wealth of nations. Right? In this book, he talks about how the nation's wealth is created. In what way? Right? How the nation's wealth can be generated. Right? How the policies have to be formulated so that nations can be wealthier. So that is where the modern economic principles came into picture. So Adam Smith is considered to be the father of modern economics in 1770. He wrote a book in 1776, 18th century to be precise. And in the case of India, you should remember this, father of Indian economics is M.G. Ranade, Mahadev Govind Ranade. Mahadev Govind Ranade. So in modern history, you talk about moderates, extremists, revolutionaries. Have you heard about moderates? Mandagamigalu. Have you heard about moderates in your high school or any time whenever you have read some history, fundamentals of history? M.G. Ranade is considered to be one of the moderates. The biggest contribution of moderates was devising economic policies which are required for the growth of India. Moderates, they come in the second half of 19th century. Indian freedom movement, right? Indian freedom movement, initially it consisted moderate leaders. Moderate leaders. Those were mostly peaceful. They were utilizing the peaceful means to pressurize Britishers to bring in necessary reforms. They were not resorted to violent means. They were mostly peaceful. One of the moderates is M.G. Ranade. He was also one of the co-founders of Indian National Congress, which was founded in 1885. So M.G. Ranade, he comes up with economic policies which are required for India at that time. He pressurized British government to bring in necessary economic reforms. Right? What Ranade said was, Indian economy is excessively depending on agriculture. Even today it is excessively depending on agriculture. More than 60% of the working population is involved in agriculture. At that time, imagine 19th century. right? Majority of your economy was depending on agriculture. So Ramada says excessive dependence on agriculture is not going to do any good for our Indian economy. We have to industrialize. There should be more and more industries to be set up so that we can achieve growth, economic growth. Excessive reliance on industries is not going to do any good for our economy. So he is the first guy to talk about that. And he also talked about, he pressurized British government to bring in social reforms, social security reforms, labor reforms, right? So he was the first guy in India to come up with economic policies which are required for Indian economy. So that's why we call him as father of Indian economy. So Ranade believed that India's excess reliance on agriculture was at the root of its problems. Root of its problems. Major reason for India's economic problems is over-reliance on agriculture. For him, economic development meant prioritizing industry and commerce over agriculture. So he pitched in the idea of prioritizing industry over agriculture. That is why he was considered to be father of Indian economy. M.G. Ranade. So what is economy? I was talking about two things, economics and economy. Economics, we read definition. Economy, what is it? I told you yesterday, it is a state or condition of a country. Economic condition. So if you want to verify any family background, you'll say, oh, their economic condition is not so good. Have you heard about it? Their economic condition is not good. Economy is condition of a country. Alright. Excuse me. Or a region in terms of production and consumption of goods and services. Economics is the study. Economy is a condition. Got it? You should use the term properly. Whether you should use the word economics or you should use the word economy, you should be careful. Both means different. Economy is the condition or a state of a country with respect to its production and consumption of goods and services. For example, you would have heard the words, right? Developed economy, developing economy, underdeveloped economy. Have you heard? America is a developed economy, Germany is a developed economy, Japan is a developed economy, China is a developing economy, India is a developing economy, Abhiruddhishila, right? And when you talk about African economies, they are underdeveloped or least developed countries, least developed economies, right? There we use the term economy, right? So, just for the sake of it, when you talk about economy of India in 1950s, economy of India in 1950, 72% of the production is contributed by agriculture. 72% of our GDP was depending on agriculture in 1950-51. That was economic of India in 1951. Economy of India in 1951. Again, industry was contributing only 10.7% and service sector was contributing 17.2%. Again, in 1990, if you come, still the agriculture was the top contributor. Economy in 1990 in India majorly driven by agriculture, 67%, followed by service sector 20.5 and industrial sector 12.7. Economy in 1990, economy in 1951. And if you come to the present times, if you see this part, 54% around is contributed by services sector. After 1991, I told you, we became a liberal economy. Yesterday I was using the term liberal. I will explain it again. We became liberal economy. What is liberal economy? I will tell you. Aftermath of liberalization, 1990-1991 was a very important phase of our Indian economic growth. After this point, Indian economy became a liberal economy and then service sector started to dominate. Which was, and currently it is contributing around 54% of our GDP. Followed by industrial sector, which is around 26% of our GDP. And agricultural sector. In writing your economics answers, if the number is, let's say, 53.89, don't need to mug up 53.89. You can say a roundabout figure. around 54% or around 55%, you can write. It's not a crime. No evaluator will come and sit with the book and say, oh, this 0.001, she has written more. Don't think that way. You can write roundabout figure. Similarly, this you can write 26% around. So the roundabout figure is important. Don't try to mug up each and every decimal. Right? So this is the current economy. So economy means status or a condition of a country's production and consumption of goods and services. Got it? Economics and economy, got the difference? Right? So disciplines of economy. There are some terms I would like to introduce you. Microeconomics. There are two terms, microeconomics and macroeconomics. Micro and macro. Majority of your economics discussion for UPSC involves macroeconomics, not micro. Micro means what? Study of economic decisions making of firms and individuals in a market. Micro. If you focus on one industry, let's say, for example, Ola electric bikes. So if you talk about how Ola introduced its products in the market, how is it marketing it, how did it achieve so much of profit, that is a microeconomy, because we are focusing on one firm. One firm. Or for example, let's say after 1960s, there is a, have you heard Green Revolution? Green Revolution, have you heard? So it introduced in India after 1960s. After that, what happened? People growing paddy increased. Many people started to grow paddy and wheat. So if you talk about, growth, production and consumption of paddy, that is, we are focusing on only one product, right? That is microeconomics. If you are focusing on one firm or one product or one set of people, let's say Mahakumbh Mela. Mahakumbh Mela, people are saying that so much of lakh rupees of income it is generated for UP. That is microeconomics. Just because Mahakumbh Mela generates so much of money doesn't mean India will become rich tomorrow. Because it is one minor thing. So individual firm or a person, if you study economics of individual choices or a production of a firm or an individual, then it is called microeconomics. It is micro, right? And macro, it deals with broader areas. A state, when you talk about an entire state, when you talk about entire country, right? Country is what? Employment of a country or unemployment of a country, inflation there in the country, GDP of a country, right? Interest rates, bank interest rates, how interest rates are going, what is foreign exchange reserve we have, forex reserve, right? What is fiscal deficit we have, fiscal deficit, for the term fiscal deficit, I will explain it. Fiscal deficit, nothing but government, today Siddaramaiah presented budget, government earns some money, right, through taxes, government also spends some money. Difference between earning and spending is called fiscal deficit. That's it. When you talk about budgeting, we'll explain it in clear terms. So when you talk about those things, they constitute macroeconomics. We discuss economic condition of a larger place or a larger region. It is state or a country or a world. Macro, micro and macro. Our discussion entirely depends on, involves around macroeconomics, right? Study that deals with the structure, performance, behavior and decision making of the whole or aggregate economy, whole economy or aggregate economy, right? So we talk about broader perspective. Economy at regional, national, global levels. Regional level, Karnataka economy, Indian economy, global economy. So that constitutes macro economy, right? So it involves a lot of people, like central bank will be there, industries will be there, individuals will be there, government will be there. In this macroeconomic setup, all these players are involved, right? Government makes decisions, central bank decides about interest rates, industries decides about investment and production, and then household decides about consumption, right? All these players are involved when you talk about macroeconomics, right? So it involves what? Production, consumption, investment and savings, right? How much is produced in the country, and what people are consuming, how much they are consuming, how much people are investing or government is investing in the economy, how much people are saving. All this constitutes in the macroeconomic studies. Okay. And we have something called macroeconomic indicators. Let's say if your body is functioning well, doctor, what will you do? He will test your BP, your pulse rate, and your eyes. Okay, all those things he will do. That is your macro condition of your body. If those indicators are good and your temperature, if those indicators are good, then your body is performing well. Similarly, for a country, if you want to test the economic health of a country, we have something called macroeconomic indicators. What are they? First thing is GDP. Second thing is inflation. Third thing is bank rate. What is central bank interest rate? Fourth thing is forex reserve. How much foreign exchange reserve the country has? Fifth thing is current account deficit. Current account deficit means India is importing a lot of products. India is exporting a lot of products. Right? If the country is exporting more, means what? It is earning a lot of dollars, right? But if the country is importing more, means it is losing a lot of dollars. If the country is exporting more, it means it is earning a lot of dollars. If I sell some laptop to USA or to China, I don't accept the money in Chinese currency. Why? Because it is of no use. If I take the Chinese money and go to Japan or go to USA, will they accept it? Universally accepted currency is dollar. Right. So if I sell something to other country, they will give me dollars. Or if I buy something from some other country, I will also give my dollars to other country. Right. This difference between selling and buying or import and export is measured in current account deficit. I will talk about that current account deficit later. I was just briefing about macroeconomic indicators of a country. These are macroeconomic indicators. Usually how country is doing, if the opposition parties, they discuss about how this government is performing, then they will discuss these things. What is GDP? What is inflation? What is bank rate? What is forex reserve? What is foreign direct investment? How much is other countries investing in India? So, and employment rate. How much employment is created every year? So, oppositions talk about these things. And even investor, if a foreign investor has to bring his money, for example, Elon Musk has to bring his money and invest in India, he will consider these things. How India's GDP is growing, how inflation is controlled, how bank rate are stable, right? How forex reserves are stable. He will consider these things, then only will decide whether India is a suitable place to invest or not. Understood? That is why macroeconomic indicators are very, very important. As an economic student, you should focus this macroeconomic indicators. When there is a news about inflation, read it. When there is a news about foreign investment, read about it. When there is news about GDP, read about it. So you should have a broader idea about these things. Questions will revolve around these macroeconomic indicators itself, even in your prelims as well as your mains. Got it? Right? So it says the brief differences between macroeconomy and microeconomy. Macro considers whole economy, overall price stability, inflation. We talk about Hanadupar, consumer price inflation, CPI, WPI, have you heard? Overall price, for example, let's say if the gold price is continuously increasing, that doesn't mean that inflation is rising in the country. Gold price will never come down, right? It is individual price of a good. That doesn't mean that in India price stability is not at all there, every day price is increasing, not like that. We consider prices of set of goods and services, not only gold. We consider entire set of goods and services, then we will calculate how prices are rising. Got it? Overall means, there's a definition. Overall goods and services, how stable the prices are. If the prices are continuously increasing, then inflation. If the prices are continuously decreasing, both situations are unstable situations only. Right? Both are unstable situations. Right? So that is why overall price stability is also part of macroeconomics. Unemployment or employment situation of a country. Aggregate demand. For example, I told you yesterday, Elon Musk is trying to set up his car manufacturing company in India. Why is he doing that? Why is he doing that? Just commonsensical question. Why he should be doing that? Let's say one funny example. There is a bar and restaurant near in this road only. Have you seen? No? Good. Next time you see. There is a bar and restaurant, imagine. In front of bar and restaurant, will you set up a flower shop? Why? No one will. That is called what? It is called what? Demand. There is no demand. There is no. So what shop will you set up there? Kebab. Alva. Some food items. Why? Because that is the demand. Now tell me, why Elon Musk must be coming to India to set up his manufacturing unit? Demand. We are a population of 140 crore. So our population incomes are also rising. National income is increasing. GDP is increasing. People are getting a lot of money. They are earning a lot of money. So they have to spend. They have to buy luxury items. So naturally the demand is very high in India. So Elon Musk will happily come and set up his factory in India. So aggregate demand is also one of the macroeconomic factor. And productive capacity of economy. Is Indian economy is having good amount of capacity to produce? Production capacity. Production of whatever. Agricultural production, industrial production, right? Is Indian economy is capable enough to produce? Production capacity. All these are macroeconomic indicators. And micro, you don't have to really bother about microeconomy, but still, individually, not whole, entire country. We talk about individual market. For example, let's say, if you are from agricultural family, will know what is the market price for pulses, onion, maize. Someone was saying that in Gulbarga side they grow chili. Anybody from Gulbarga? They grow chilies. Recently, the prices of chilies for a ton it was around 25,000. Now it has come down to 8,000. That is market for chili. So microeconomics is individual markets. Effect on price of a good. Effect on price of one single good. For example, tomorrow if the gold imports are stopped, India imports gold, you know. Whatever the gold produced in India is not sufficient for us. We are always seeking gold. We need more gold. Indians are happy to wear more and more of gold. Right? We import gold. Tomorrow, let's say suddenly imports are stopped. What happens? Price of gold increases. So if you study individual good, then it's a microeconomics. Effect on price of a good, individual labor market. You would have heard that in villages, your parents or seniors will be saying that labors are not at all available for a farm work. Right? Individual labor market. If you talk about, but in Bangalore city like that, there are many laborers. People are coming to cities and work. Right? So individual market, labor market, if we talk about, then it's a microeconomics, individual consumer behavior. For one product, the consumers are very eager to buy. And supply of good. Right? These are all microeconomic and macroeconomy. Did you get some idea about micro and macro? Microeconomy and macroeconomy? Right? And there is something called mesoeconomics. Not so important, but in case if you get this term in prelims and all, they will give this term to confuse you. Mesoeconomics. It is in between macro and micro. In between macro and micro, it is meso. So I told you microeconomics is about individual firm or individual good and service. And macro is entire nation or region. So in between, there are clusters, groups, cooperative society, cooperatives, Between individual and the country, there are groups or clusters. For example, let's say organizations, farmer organization, right? For example, there is a coffee board. Coffee board is an organization. Silk board is an organization. It is not an individual farmer. It is not an individual firm. It is collectively. Right? If you talk about silk production of entire country, right? It is more than micro, right? It is more than micro. I talked about, chilli price in Gulbarga market. But if you talk about chilli price in entire India, it will become meso. Micro, meso, macro. If you talk about all the food crop prices in India, that becomes macro. If you talk about chilli price in entire India, it becomes meso. If you talk about chilli price in some region, some market, Gulbarga market, Bangalore market, it becomes micro. Got it? Between micro and macro, there is a meso. That's it. Organization level, community level. For example, let's say urban community. Right. So what is the average salary of a urban woman? If I talk about if I say average salary of a urban woman, I am talking about entire urban woman. That is a meso. Right. If I talk about individual woman, it's a micro. Understood? Micro, meso, and this is just a small difference. And sectors, auto sector. If I talk about automobile sector, how automobile sector is doing, whether automobile sector is generating enough jobs, whether automobile sector is importing or exporting. If I talk about individual sector, then it is a meso. If I talk about only Tata Motors, then it is a micro. If I talk about entire automobile sector, it is a meso. One firm, micro. Collection of firms, meso. Entire India, macro. How Tata Motors is doing, micro. How automobile sector is doing, meso. How industrial sector of India is doing. Got it? Got it? Micro, meso, and mesoeconomics. It's a middle region. It studies the intermediate level of economic organization in between the micro and macro sectors. In between, intermediate. It involves organizations, communities, sectors. Organizations, communities, and sectors. Urban community, auto sector, infrastructure sector, farmer organization, labor organization, organizations, communities, and sector. They are above micro, below macro. Understood? Got it? Microeconomics. So always there are some concepts in microeconomics which I would like to explain. So mostly our study, our preparation involves macroeconomics. Okay? There are few concepts of microeconomics you should know. They will ask in prelims, not for mains. Okay? Which I will introduce you. So always in economics, always if you become an economist tomorrow or Department of Economics Secretary or whatever, economic RBI governor, whatever it is, there is always a problem of choice. Scarcity of resources. Government has some 30 lakh crores of rupees in the budget. What to choose? Where and all it should spend. You have 5,000 rupees with you. 1 month you have to survive. Only 5,000 rupees. Scarcity of resource. Problem of choice. What to choose? There is always a question, right? What to choose? What should I eat? Which place should I go? What kind of clothes should I wear? If you have 5,000 rupees to spend, will you go to some posh mall and buy some 5,000 rupees shirt and come out? Right? So there is a scarcity of resources and problem of choice will always be there. Microeconomics involves there are scarcity of resources and individual choice. What kind of choices people make? Right? Every society has to decide on how to use its scarce resources. Major economic problem is that only. There are resources are scarce. How to utilize those scarcity of resources, scarce resources, right? So where should I spend? Should I spend on car, house, good school, luxury trip? Where? There is always a confusion. Microeconomics involves such kind of things. So in that there are some definitions. So there are different type of goods people buy, right? Normal goods. In prelims they may ask, which of the following are the example of normal goods? What is a normal good? Demand increases with the increase of income. Before this, I will come to this, wait. Before this, I want to introduce you to the law and demand, law of demand and supply. I want to introduce you to this concept, law of demand and supply. It's a very simple thing, very basic thing. Everybody knows this. Even a small shopkeeper will know this. What is this? For example, let's say this is a price. Okay. This line represents price. This line represents quantity. Okay. Okay. Let's say, how many of you have iPhone? How many of you have Benz? Nobody. Why? How many of you have Android phones? All of you. All of you. Right. Why not iPhone? How much you would have paid for your Android phone? 10,000 rupees. 10,000 rupees. iPhone will cost how much? 50,000 to 1 lakh. Tomorrow, let's say 100, if you take 100 people, just a random guess. If you just randomly bring 100 people here, how many of them would be having an iPhone? Just like that. Don't have to be accurate, but just a number. How many of them would be having an iPhone? Okay, 10%. At least 10%, 10 people. And rest will be having, 90% will be having Android. Let's say Apple, Tim Cook is very happy with Indian customers. He is a very good friend of Modi. He will say, from tomorrow onwards, I will be selling iPhone at a very cheaper price. So let's say 1 lakh rupees iPhone. Tomorrow it became 80,000. Price, this is a price line. Price came down. Quantity of buyers increases. This 10 will become 15. 10% will become. Let's say he will again reduce it to 50,000. Again the quantity, this is quantity. This is price. Don't forget, price is quantity. Again price came down. Quantity of purchases increases. Again it became 10K. Price came down, buyers increases. This is called demand curve. This is called demand curve. When the price decreases, demand increases. Quantity that is demanded increases. And if it comes to 10K, those who are not even willing to buy one phone, they will start buying 3 phones. Got it? When the price decreases, quantity of demand, what happens? Increases. This is demand curve. You should never ever forget this concept. Understood? You should draw this diagram. Demand curve diagram. Right? This is y-axis is price, x-axis is quantity. Whenever the price decreases, quantity of demand increases. Understood? One more example is, let's say, if you have a flight to your hometown, flight. The bus price is, let's say, 150 rupees and the flight is 5,000 rupees. Tomorrow, the Air India is owned by Tata's, and Tata, let's say tomorrow is Women's Day. So they will say all the women can travel for free of cost in Tata Airlines tomorrow. What happens? Will people go in bus? No, they will queue to the airport and they will board the flight, whatever the flight they take. When the price decreases, quantity of demand increases. Simple concept. Very simple concept. Okay. That is called demand curve. Right? Demand curve will always having a downward slope. Remember this. Demand curve will be having a downward slope. Just a theory. This is just a theory. These questions they will give you in prelims to confuse you. And this is very commonsensical question, very generic question. For this to know, do you need to be an economist? Do you need to be an economist? No, it's a commonsensical thing. If the price comes in, people will buy more. What is there in that? Right? Economics is full of common sense, believe me. It looks like very technical, very conceptual, but it is purely commonsensical. If you have common sense, you can become an expert in economics. Okay. There is one more thing. Let's say this is price. Okay. This is quantity. Okay. This is supply curve. What is supply curve? If the price of the good is increasing, then quantity of production also increases. For example, let's say there are two crops, onion and groundnut. Okay. Let's say per ton of onion, the price is around 10,000 rupees. Let's say in the market. Okay. And for groundnut, it is around 50,000 rupees. I don't know the exact price. I'm just guessing some random number. Okay. And suddenly there is a scarcity of groundnut, and the price of groundnut increases to 80,000 rupees per ton. So, forget about 80,000. Forget about groundnut. Groundnut is, let's say, 50,000 rupees per ton. Onion is 10,000 rupees per ton. So, you are a farmer. Generally, what will you go for? If you are asked to choose between these two, let's say your farm is suitable for growing both groundnut and onion. Right, both of them consume same capital, same investment. Which one will you go for? Groundnut. Let's say tomorrow onion price crossed 50,000 rupees. Let's say onion becomes 200 rupees per kg, and per ton it will become 2 lakh rupees per ton. Hypothetically, I'm just telling you. Which one will you choose? Onion. There will be a lot of farmers like you. If the price increases, quantity of production increases. You will become more attractive, right? You will attract towards those product. Oh, that is very costly. That is very costly. I will produce more and more of such products so that I can become rich. You will produce more such products where the price is high. What it is called? Supply curve. When the price increases, the quantity of production also increases. When the price increases, quantity of production also increases. That is supply curve. The slope of the supply curve is always upwards. Slope is upwards. It is, but demand curve slope is downwards. They will ask such questions in prelims. They will confuse you. These are very basic concepts you should know. Got it? Okay. Supply curve and demand curve. You should never ever forget this diagram. Right. Let's say more price, more profit, more production. Okay, people will buy. Onion, I told you, 1 lakh rupees per ton. Oh, you produce it. Then you produce a lot of onions, but people found it very costly. They will stop buying it. What will you do? What will you do? You will decrease the price. You will decrease the price. Right? One more scenario. For example, demand growth, demand curve. So let's say just because more people will buy, you will decrease the price. For example, a lot of competition is happening with respect to earlier Jio network was giving for free. Do you know? Free SIM, free network, everything. Right? Just because more people will consume, you will decrease the price. Even in the institutes are happening. Institutes are also, they will compete with the prices they will allow. They will give you for lower prices, all the courses, everything. But how much low? You have to stop somewhere, because you should get some money, at least whatever the money you invested in the production, some profit. You cannot keep the lowest price. There is a state of equilibrium. State of equilibrium. In the state of equilibrium, there is enough demand. There is a good price. Equilibrium state where the price is attractive for both producer and consumer. When you bargain in a shop, the shopkeeper will tell you 100 rupees. You will say, no sir, this is like very poor quality, give me 60 rupees. He will say, aitu, nangu bada, ningu bada. Let us keep a middle price, 80 rupees. I will also be happy, you will also be happy. Equilibrium price, where there is enough quantity of production and the price is attractive for both producer and consumer. Equilibrium status. For every economy, for every industrialist, for every manufacturer, for every producer, this state of equilibrium, achieving the state of equilibrium is very, very important. At this state of equilibrium, whatever he produces will be sold in the market. He will also not be in loss, customer also will be not in loss, customer also will not be in loss. Equilibrium, achieving equilibrium. If the prices are too heavy, demand will come down. If the prices are too low, profit will come down. If the prices are too high, demand will come down. If the price is too low, profit will come down. Right? I have to achieve profit as well as secure the demand. If I have to achieve both profit as well as demand, I should keep the price so that people will not be discouraged to buy it. Also, producer also will not be discouraged to manufacture it. Both should not be discouraged. So that kind of status is called equilibrium status. Understood? Got it? The state of equilibrium is at the intersection point of both demand curve and supply curve. The state of equilibrium is at intersection point of demand curve and supply curve. There, a producer will come to know how much he should produce for this country. Got it? In India, let's say 10 lakh cars are sold every day, for example. 10 lakh cars are sold every day. Just because Tata is having huge manufacturing setup, if they produce 30 lakh cars per day, who will buy? Who will buy? Nobody. They have to keep the price too low then. They have to sell it for too cheaper price. Then there is no profit. So the company has to manufacture the number of quantity which is sold in the market. Right? They should know how much should be manufactured. So what is the quantity that is sold? What is the price to be sold? Decided by equilibrium status. So in this equilibrium state, a consumer or a producer will come to know what should be the price and how much should be the quantity. Beyond them, you should not manufacture. Got it? If you keep a small tea stall here, you should know how many consumers are there. Accordingly, you should bring the milk and make tea. If you bring 1,000 liters of milk and make some 10,000 cup of coffee, who will drink? Right? You should know how much quantity should be manufactured and what price to be kept. That is called equilibrium status. This equilibrium status comes at the intersection point of demand and supply curve. Demand curve will be sloping downwards, supply curve will be sloping upwards. Whenever the price decreases, demand increases. Demand of the quantity increases. Whenever the price increases, supply, because producers will be more attracted to supply or produce. Oh, price is high, let me produce more so that I can get more profit. Understood? Got it? In Kumbh Mela it happened, people are discussing a lot of things. Even a tea seller may used to make lakhs of rupees per day, it seems. Crores of people gathered at one place. Right? If that is the case, then everybody will go and set up a tea stall, produce more, sell more. It is more profitable to set up a tea shop near Prayagraj than in Bangalore. So take all these equipments and go to Prayagraj and be there for 1 month and make some money. So whenever the price is increasing, quantity of supply also increases. Whenever the price is decreasing, demand increases. Demand increases. Don't get confused. Slope is downwards doesn't mean it is decreasing. You should check this point. Quantity demanded always increases. Let's say this is 0 quantity demand. 10 quantity. I told you 10% people bought iPhone. Again quantity became 20. Here slope is downward because price is decreasing, not because demand is decreasing. Are you getting it? Demand is this one, 20, 30, 40. When the graph is coming like this, demand is increasing, price is decreasing. Understood? So demand curve will be sloping downwards, supply curve will be sloping upwards. Price is increasing, supply will increase. Price is decreasing, demand will increase. Understood? Very basic concept. Got it? Yeah. Equilibrium. Equilibrium price, also known as market clearing price. Equilibrium price also known as market clearing price. If I sell at this price, people will buy. That's it. Okay. It is the price at which producer can sell all of the units he wants to produce, and the buyer can buy all of the units he wants to buy. Let's say 100 buyers are there. 100 buyers are there. Right. If the price of the tea, for example, I drank, if it is 50 rupees, then out of 100, some 5 people can drink. If the price is 30 rupees, out of 100, some 20 people can drink. If the price is 10 rupees, all 100 can drink. Right. All the buyers should be attracted to buy this. That's the equilibrium price. And I should be able to sell all my 100 cup of tea. That's the equilibrium price. I should be able to sell at the price. If I keep high price, then nobody will buy. And I cannot sell. I cannot sell. If I keep it at equilibrium price, then what? People will also buy. I can also sell. That means both buyers and producers should not be discouraged. Producers also should get some profit. Buyers also should be attracted to buy. That is called what? Equilibrium price. Understood? Got it? Now come to this slide. These concepts. Let us come to these concepts. Normal goods. Very important. And again, for prelims sake, okay. Normal goods. Very, very simple definition. Very, very simple definition. Demand increases with increase of income. Demand increases with increase of income. and decreases with the decreasing of income is called normal good. Normal goods. Demand for those goods increases with increase of income. Can you give me an example? So, how do you commute? How do you travel? Usually, if you want to go around Bangalore anywhere, how will you go? Bus, right? Suddenly tomorrow, you started to take cab. Everywhere you go, you take cab. Your friend is observing. You both are friends. You see her coming every day by bus. Suddenly from tomorrow onwards, she start coming by cab. What will you ask her? Huh? What will you ask her? What? Suddenly you got some money or what? Right? Oh, you became rich overnight. Will you ask, right? What, you suddenly became very rich or not? What, you are coming by car every day? Yes or no? So, if the money or income increases, then demand increases. That's called normal good. Can you give me an example? iPhone. Anything else? That's a one good iPhone. Yeah. If the income increases, then Apple company will be very happy. I am selling lot of iPhones in Indian market. So demand also increases. Any other example? Cars. Any luxury goods. Gold for that example. If the price increases, then demand also increases. Alva. Air travels, and branded clothes. Any luxury goods. Those are normal goods. Normal goods means when the income increases, demand increases. Here I have given protein-rich quality food. So let's say if you start, people consume dry fruits, lot of fruits, protein-rich food, protein-rich diet. So normal people will rely on normal diet. If people get more money, then they will go for all nutritional diet, protein-rich diet, etc., etc. The demand for such protein-rich food will increase with increasing in income. That is called normal good. Second thing is inferior good. Inferior good. Demand falls with the increasing in income, and demand rises with the decreasing in income. Excuse me. Demand falls with increasing in income. Demand rises with decreasing in income. If you talk about normal good, it is directly proportional. Right? Directly proportional. Inferior good, inversely proportional. Inversely proportional. Inferior good. They may ask this question also. Inferior goods, their inversely demand for which will be inversely proportional to the income or directly proportional to the income. Remember, we are talking about demand and income. Demand and income. If the income rises, demand also rises. That is called what? Directly proportional. Which good? Normal good. For inferior good, if the income increases, demand decreases. What is it? What do we say that? Inversely proportional. Inversely proportional. Ulta, tala kelage. Inverse and tala kelage anta. Ulta. Inversely proportional. Which good it is? Inferior good. Can you give me an example? When you, when the income increase, demand decrease, friends are, due to friends income increases, demand decreases. What kind of goods? Low quality goods. Low quality goods. If you go to a hotel and get the normal water, or if you go to a hotel buy a mineral water, there is a difference, right? Depends on what money you have. For a low quality goods, demand decreases. For example, if you go to village, even buying rice is also a luxury. In the labor class families, buying rice is also a luxury. They sustain themselves with millets, sajje, ragi, right? Such kind of food items. Rice is still luxury. But if they get money, let's say one family is relying on bajra, ragi, such kind of millets. Millets are kind of cheaper compared to pulses and rice. If they get money overnight, what will they do? They will buy rice, pulses, etc. And demand for their inferior goods, those bajra, millets will decrease. You can also say public transport. Public transport, right? If you get more money, you will not use public transport. What will you do? You will buy car, or you will use some personal transport. You will book some cab and will go. Right? That is an example for inferior good. What is inferior good? The demand of the good will decrease with increasing the income. That is inversely proportional to the income. And for normal good, demand rises with rising the income. That is directly proportional to the income. Understood? It is very simple. Understood? Yeah. There is something called substitute goods. Substitute goods. What are substitute goods? Goods and services consumed in the substitution to others. Tea and coffee. Tea can substitute coffee. If the price of tea is high, you go for coffee. That's it. Substitution. Private and public transport. If you want to go to some place, there is a private bus as well as there is a government bus. You inquire prices of both the transport. If whichever the transport price is high, you will choose that or low price. Whichever price is low, you will choose that. Substitute goods. Substitutes. Branded and non-branded. Branded and non-branded can be substituted. Real gold and artificial gold can be substituted. Normal food products and organic food products. Organic food products. Do you know organic food products? Organic vegetables, organic jaggery, everything is organic now. Organic milk. What is organic milk? Have you heard about organic milk? Yes or no? What is organic milk? I'm just curious. If you know, you tell me. Without using fertilizers, what will they do? Why milk require fertilizers? No. Why milk requires fertilizers? You need fertilizers for milk? Then what is the meaning of organic milk? Have you heard organic milk? At least have you seen people selling organic milk? Organic products means what? Do you know what is the meaning of organic products? Do you know? Whatever you said is right. Organic products means products which are grown without chemical fertilizers. Only using plant-based fertilizers, organic products are grown. That is the definition of organic products. But there is a organic milk in the market. What is the meaning of I can understand organic groundnut, I can understand organic rice, organic vegetables, I can understand. Okay, they don't want to use chemical fertilizers, they use animal based fertilizers for the, but what is organic milk? Do you know? So this is substitution. Huh? Meaning, even I don't know. People say, listen, why there is a need of fertilizers for milk? Can you think? They will mix fertilizer to milk, urea. They will do. They will mix. They will mix urea with milk. Huh? And that is illegal. That is not legal. It is adulterated milk. Naturally, they will not. Nobody should. Okay, that is a adulterated milk. That is a illegal thing. That's a crime to mix something chemical to the milk. But what is the meaning of organic milk? So I will tell you. So these cows will give milk, right? Cows will feed on to what? What will you feed the cows? What will the cows eat? Grass, fodder. That fodder is grown with animal fertilizers. To grow that fodder, they don't use chemical fertilizers. What will they do? They will grow that fodder with organic fertilizers, and they'll take that fodder and feed the cows. And the milk given by those cows is called. It is very complicated life. We are in a complicated world. Okay. Forget it. Substitution means one product can be substituted for other. That's called substitution product. Substitution product. Complementary product. What happens with substitution product? I'll just finish it off. For example, Android phone, iPhone substitution. If Android phone price increases and iPhone price decreases, demand for iPhone will increase, right? Similarly, if the Android phone price decreases, iPhone price increases, demand for Android phone will increase. So, the price of the substitution product will impact the price of other product. If Ganesh IAS is offering course for UPSC for, let's say, 1 lakh rupees, if the other institute offers the same course for 50,000 rupees, given that other institute can substitute Ganesh, assume that, what will students do? They will go to other institute. That is called substitution. So my demand will also depend on the price of my substitute products. Grace is keeping the price 1 lakh rupees for 10 years, let's say. I have not changed it. I am not greedy. I want only same money. But other institute has reduced the price. I have not made any changes. Still my demand will be affected. How? Because my substitute product price is changed. Got it? That is called substitution. Understood? Substitute products. That is why we study substitute products. Complementary products. Complementary. Shoes and socks. They are complementary. Can shoes substitute socks? Can shoes substitute socks? No, right? Both are needed. Both will complement each other. Both will complement each other. Both are required. Both are required. Shoes and lace. Shoes and lace. Both are required. Complement. Coffee, powder and milk. Coffee powder and milk. Complementary products. Complementary products. Right? So I told you, in substitution, there are product 1, there is product 2. For substitution, there is a product 1 and product 2. Okay. If the price of this product 1 increases, demand for product 2 will decrease or increase. Listen properly. For substitution products, there is product 1 and product 2. These are substitute products. You understood substitute product, right? Okay. If the price of one product increases, demand for other substitute product will increase. Very good. Demand will increase. Let us come to complementary products. P1 and P2, complementary. Okay. If the price of P1 increases, if the price of P1 increases, demand for P2 will increase or decrease? Huh? How many of you will say decrease? Complementary products, example is coffee and sugar, or coffee and milk, okay, or shoe and socks, okay. If the complementary product price increases, other complementary product price demand will coffee powder price is very low. Let's say 100 rupees per kg. People will buy coffee. Coffee will contain sugar also. Sugar demand also will increase. Tomorrow suddenly coffee price will become 500 rupees per kg. I will stop drinking coffee. Papa, sugar, it has not done anything. The demand for sugar also decreases, right? Yes or no? Yes or no? If the suddenly shoe price increases, people stop buying shoes. Papa, socks also will reduce its demand. People will wear socks and walk without shoes. Complementary product, when it comes to complementary product, if the price of the one product increases, demand for other product will decrease. It is very simple thing. Demand will decrease. In complementary products, if one product price increases, other products demand will decrease. In complementary products, if price of one product increases, demand for other product will decrease. In supplementary products, if the price of one product increases, demand for other product will increase. Substitute. In substitute, if the price of one product increases, demand for other product will increase. In the complementary goods, if one product price increases, demand for other product will decrease. Understood? Substitute products and complementary products. Substitute goods and complementary goods. Got it? Understood? Yes? Okay. And there is something called elasticity of demand. There is a concept of elasticity of demand. Elasticity. What is elasticity of demand? Demand of some goods are very responsive. Demand for some goods are very responsive to price changes, while demands for certain other goods are not so responsive to price changes. Okay. For example, let's say you are all writing in a ballpoint pen. So let's assume that they are the cheapest pen in the market. 5 rupees. There is a Parker pen. Everybody knows Parker pen. Do you know? Earlier when we were students, that was the costliest pen. Now there are so many other costliest pens available in the market. Okay. Let's say there is a price, there is a pen. Let's say currently there is a very good pen, the magic pen. You can write very fast in that. You can write very good handwriting. The price of the pen is 100 rupees. Price of the pen is 100 rupees. If the price of the pen comes down, demand will increase. I am writing in a ballpoint pen because I can afford only ballpoint pen. Though this pen is very good, this is very costly. But if the price comes down 50 rupees, demand will suddenly increase. That is called elasticity, elastic. The demand of the goods responded to the change in the price. Yes or no? Demand of the goods responded to the change in the price. It responded, right? Yes or no? Suddenly the price became 200. Whoever wanted to buy the pen, they will also stop buying it. That is called elasticity. That is called elasticity. Response of the demand to the increase or decrease in the price. Got it? Let us say ballpoint pen. You have 5 rupees pen with you. 5 rupees pen with you. Let's say you will finish 1 pen per month. Let's assume that. Yearly you will buy 12 pens. 5 rupees is the price. Tomorrow the price became 10 rupees. Will you stop buying? Will you stop buying? Will you stop buying? Because there is no alternative. And it is very necessary. If you don't have pen, what will you do? Nothing. It is very necessary. So, change in the price. Let's say if the price became 2 rupees, will you buy 100 pens? You still buy 12 pens, right? Will you buy 100 pens? If the price became 2 rupees, you will still buy the same number of pens because you can consume only so many of pens. You can't spend a lot of 100. If there are 100 pens, means you cannot keep 5 pens at a time and write in 5 pens, right? Yes or no? So, is the demand elastic or inelastic? Elastic. What is elasticity? What is elasticity? In the earlier example, change in the price reflected in the change in the demand, right? Demand of the goods responded to the change in the price, right? In this example, demand of the goods responded to the change in the price, right? That is called elasticity. ಅಲ್ಲಪ್ಪ ಈ ಒಂದು ಎಲಾಸ್ಟಿಕ್ ರಬ್ಬರ್ ಹಿಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಈ ಲೋಟ ಹಿಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಇದು? ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಇನ್ಎಲಾಸ್ಟಿಕ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಸಿಮಿಲರ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರೈಸ್ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಆದ್ರೆ ಡಿಮ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು. ದೆನ್ we call elastic. It is called elasticity. But when I give other example, the ballpoint pen, is it elastic? Is it elastic? I told you, if the 5 rupees became 10 rupees, you will still buy 12 pens. Will you stop buying? Because it is necessary. It is necessary. If the price become 2 rupees, you will still buy 12 pens only. Because necessary. Right? That is called inelastic. Those are called inelastic goods. Goods for which the demand will respond to the change in price is called elastic goods. The goods for which demand will not change much. It may change little bit. It may change little bit, but not much. For example, ballpoint pen, if it become 2 rupees, you may buy some more pen. You can give to others. You may buy some more, but you will not buy in huge quantity, right? You will not buy in huge quantity. Demand may a little bit fluctuate, but it won't fluctuate hugely. Let's take for example gold. Now 10 grams of gold is around 85,000 rupees. 85,000 rupees. So you have some money with you. You will wait for the price to come down, or you will buy some small amount of gold. Suddenly tomorrow the price became 8,000 rupees. You will buy 100 grams of gold overnight. If the price become 1,000 rupees, you will buy 1 kg of gold maybe. You will not stop buying because it is very elastic good. Gold is very elastic. If the price increases very high, you will stop buying it. let us use some artificial jewels. Let us not put our life into risk by buying such a costly gold. Elastic, inelastic. Did you get it? Did you get it? You have a family of 5 members. The 5 members, they need at least 5 kg of rice per month. Assume that. Rice price is 30 rupees per kg, for example. If it becomes 50 rupees per kg, you may reduce by, let's say, half a kg or 1 kg maximum. But still you need some basic quantity of rice. Even if the price become 100 kg, you will still need rice. You will not stop buying it. But if the price from 30 it will become 10 kg, you will still need only that much amount of rice. Compared to the gold. Gold, if the price is 8,000 rupees, if the price is 85,000 rupees per 10 grams, you will wear one small, some small jewel just for the sake of it. It becomes 8,000 rupees, then you will wear big ones. All over, all 10 fingers will have this thing, rings. Okay, there is no limit. But for rice, there is a limit. Just because it becomes 10 rupees per kg, you cannot eat 1 kg of rice at once. You will still eat same amount of rice. Necessary goods, those goods which are necessary, they are not elastic. They are not elastic. Necessary goods. Petrol, for example. Some person has to travel by bike every day to office. Okay, for 5 days he need 1 liter of petrol. Petrol price becomes 200 rupees tomorrow. He will still have to buy 1 liter of petrol. Yes or no? For 5 days. He has to buy, right? Because it is necessary. For necessary goods, the demand is inelastic. Demand will not fluctuate much. Demand will not fluctuate much. For non-necessary goods or for luxury goods, demand will fluctuate. Price increases, demand decreases. Price decreases, demand increases. Elasticity means response to the increasing or decreasing price. How demand will respond to the change in prices is called elasticity. How demand will respond to the change in prices is called elasticity. If the response is too high, then we say the goods is elastic. If the response is too less, then we say the goods are inelastic. Inelastic. Understood? Okay. So this is the example I have given. Increase in the price of petrol will not alter the demand much, but increasing iPhone prices leads to reduction in demand. Understood? Elastic and inelastic goods. Got it? Okay. There is something called utility. Utility, the concept of utility in microeconomics. What is utility? Let's say, utility of a commodity is its want satisfying capacity. Remember this word. Want satisfying capacity. Want satisfying capacity. If you are very hungry, or if you are in need of money, okay, you desperately need 10 rupees now. You need it, means you need it. You ask everybody. Nobody is giving you. Suddenly some person came. Nobody is giving you. Then somehow you managed it. Tomorrow, you only have 1,000 rupees with you. I will come. Hey, yesterday we were asking 10 rupees, take it. What will you do? I don't have any need. But if I had given you 10 rupees yesterday, then it would have satisfied, right? Right? That is called utility. Same 10 rupees. Yesterday, if I had given you, it would have been more helpful for you. It would have been satisfied your want. But today I am giving you 10 rupees. It is not satisfied. It doesn't satisfy your want because you don't need it. Same 10 rupee. Utility of the 10 rupee increased or decreased based on your want. If you are hungry, very hungry, I gave you some biscuits, you feel really happy. Though you don't like those biscuits, at least you got something to eat. And your stomach is full. I gave you hot gulab jamuns, still you don't like it. Because your stomach is full. Even if you like it, the satisfying value of that good is very less. Because you were already satisfied. You were already. For a poor person, if the government announces 1 kg of rice, he will be very happy. 1 kg rice for a poor person will have more satisfying capabilities. But for a rich person living in Bangalore, earning good money, if the government announces 1 kg of free rice, utility of that rice is very less or zero. But for a poor person, the free rice, utility of that free rice is very high. Because it is utilized to satisfy his wants. Understood? That is called utility. Right? Utility of a commodity is its want satisfying capacity. Want satisfying capacity. Okay? A consumer usually decides his demand for a commodity on the basis of utility. In the summer season, if you give anybody in the mid of the day cold water in front of Grace IAS, he will bless you. Somehow someone gave me some cold water, I am happy. In a chilled winter, if you give someone cold water, will they take it? So economy or the industries will decide what to produce based on the utility of the product. Based on the utility of the product. If this product is having utility, for example, if you go to Rajasthan in the summer, if you sell woolen cloths, will they buy? Will they buy? No. Because utility of that cloth is not there in that place, that is why there is no demand. Right? Similarly, if you go to Shimla and if you sell thin cotton cloths, will they buy? Because they need thick cloths to protect themselves from severe cold. Utility means want satisfying capacity. If the product or a commodity has higher want satisfying capacity, then it will have more demand. If the product has higher want satisfying capacity, then it will have more demand, right? Yes or no? It will have more demand. So, a consumer usually decides his demand for a commodity on the basis of utility, right? Or satisfaction. For example, KPSC notification is out. Okay. If I start KPSC classes, then people will come. Because utility of the KPSC classes is very high at that time. If the exam is over, if there is no notification, government told that for next 3 years I am not going to release any notification and I will start KPSC classes, who will come? Because utility of the class is not there. So based on the utility, consumer will decide whether to buy it or not. Understood? Okay. So, example, food when hungry has higher utility than gold. If you are a hungry person, you are very hungry, I will tell you take this 1 kg of gold and be happy. What will you do with that gold? Assuming that you cannot sell the gold and buy food. Assuming that you were locked in this room, 5 days you are kept hungry, and I will come with huge gold bags. I will say, take this gold and be happy. I will lock you for another 1 month. What will you do? You will die. You don't want gold because gold has no utility. Assuming that you cannot go out and sell. Right? So that is called utility. Total utility of a fixed quantity of a commodity is the total satisfaction derived from consuming the given amount of some commodity. Total utility. Total satisfaction. Total satisfaction means what? These are very simple concepts. Total utility. For example, let's say you are very thirsty. You are very thirsty. I give 1 glass of water. I'll give 1 glass of water. That utility of that water is very high. First glass. Second glass. Let's say I am measuring your satisfaction by numbers. Let's say for the first glass of water satisfaction, our utility is 10. Assuming that some number, random number. For a second glass of water, this will be 8. For third glass of water, it can be 6. I have 50 glass of water. For fourth glass, it can be 3. For fifth glass, it can be 1. For sixth glass, you will not drink. I will have to force you to drink. I will have to close your nose and put the water in the your throat forcibly. This has no utility. Total utility means I will add this 10, 8, 7, 3, 1, whatever it is, I will get some number 15. That is a total utility. Total utility. Fixed quantity of a fixed quantity. Let's say 10 glass of water. What is the total utility of 10 glass of water? First glass has higher utility. Second glass has little bit lesser utility. Third glass will be even more lesser utility. If I go on adding all the utilities of all the quantity of products I have, it will become total utility. Total utility of a fixed quantity of a commodity is the total satisfaction. For utility, you should remember this word, want satisfying capacity. Remember this word. UPSC, you have to remember keywords. Even if you cannot recollect entire definition, at least keywords you should know. Want satisfying capacity will define the utility of a product. Okay. So total utility is fixed quantity of commodity is the total satisfaction derived from consuming the given amount of some commodity, whatever the commodity it can be. When you are consuming, if you want to consume certain fixed set of commodities, total utility is every product. You consume all the products and say total is the total utility. There is something called marginal utility. Marginal utility. What is marginal utility? Remember, change in the total utility due to consumption of one additional unit of a commodity. Change in the total utility due to consumption of one additional unit of a commodity. This is total utility. This is marginal utility. 10 became 8, right? Utility changed, right? Yes or no? 10 became 8. This is marginal utility. The change in the utility by consuming one extra commodity, one additional commodity. Marginal utility will decrease by increase in the consumption of the commodity. Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes or no? One glass of water, highest utility. Second glass of water, reduced utility. Third, even it will reduce. So utility is going to reduce, right? Marginal utility will reduce, right? Yes or no? The difference will decrease, right? Utility will come down. Marginal utility is the change in total utility due to consumption of one additional unit of commodity. One more commodity, utility will decrease. Utility of the fifth banana is lesser than that of the first one. Right? If you get your first salary, the happiness, the satisfaction is very high. Second salary, third salary, of course salary is salary, money will always become happy, but comparatively, that excitement, that want a satisfying capacity, after 6 months, 7 months will start blaming the salary. I am getting only this much, what will I do with this money? You will start cursing the company, cursing your job. But on the first day, whatever they pay, I will be happy. My job is everything for me. You will feel happy. That want satisfying capacity will be very high in the first commodity. If the number of commodity increases day by day, then the marginal utility will come down. Understood? Utility, the concept of utility. Understood? This is very commonsensical, but they have kept it in some technical words. That's it. Everybody knows this. Yes or no? People know this, right? ಒಂದು ಗಾದೆ ಇದೆ ಅಲ್ವ, ಹೊಟ್ಟೆ ತುಂಬಿದವನಿಗೆ ಉಗ್ಗಿಲು ಮುಳ್ಳು ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದಿರಾ? ಹೊಟ್ಟೆ ತುಂಬಿದವನಿಗೆ ಬಿಸಿ ಬಿಸಿ ಉಗ್ಗಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನ್ ಗೊತ್ತಾ? ಏನ್ ಉಗ್ಗಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ? ಪಾಯಸ ಗೊತ್ತಾ? ಹೋಗ್ಲಿ, ಹೊಟ್ಟೆ ಹಸ್ದವನಿಗೆ ಪಾಯಸ ಹಾಕಿದ್ರೆ ಗೋಡಂಬಿ ದ್ರಾಕ್ಷಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಹಾಕ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಖುಷಿಯಾಗಿ ತಿಂತಾನೆ. ಹೊಟ್ಟೆ ತುಂಬ ನೀವು ಪಾಯಸ ಕೊಟ್ರೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೋ ಬಿದ್ದಾಯ್ತು ನೋಡು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಇದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಉಗ್ಗಿಲು ಮುಳ್ಳೋದು, ಅದರಲ್ಲೂ ಏನೋ ಒಂದು ಸಕ್ಕರೆ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗಿದೆ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಏನೋ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ದೂರ ಇಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಯುಟಿಲಿಟಿ ಆಫ್ ದಟ್ commodity is less, alva. Hence, increase in the consumption of a commodity, decrease in the marginal utility. Remember this word. This will be asked in your prelims. Increase in the consumption of a commodity leads to decrease in the marginal utility. Very important. Those kind of statements will be given in your prelims. Got it? Giffen goods, I'll talk about it tomorrow. Okay, I'm going really slow because I want you to warm up with all these technical terms and how to think in economics and all, and slowly we'll start with some new concepts. Okay, tomorrow I will finish this off, and tomorrow maybe we will start with GDP. Not tomorrow, Monday. Tomorrow, day after, next class we may start with GDP. Okay, so as I told you, start reading NCERTs, start reading economics news. Though you don't understand, at least be familiar with what is happening around. At least give a glance about the budget today, Karnataka budget. Just give a glance, right? So get familiar with what is happening. Okay, economics of the country, economics of the state. Though you don't understand, at least be familiar with. It will be really helpful for you to connect the current affairs with the fundamentals, the basic concepts. Okay, thank you very much. Any doubts? I told you, if you come across any doubts, you can talk to me or you can text me over my Telegram ID. This is my Telegram ID. Okay. Thank you.